My friend Roger Federer, how are you doing today is my question. I hope all is well with you, and I know all is well with you actually. But I made this just want to try to make a quick video, but every time I say I make a quick video, it's not a quick video. But I wanted to check in today with a quick video just to say, like, how are you doing? How are you processing today? Because it's a really important time right now, given the match yesterday. It's a very important time for you, I feel, as far as just making a choice to look at how you're going to be able to proceed and versus sort of not proceeding. And if you look at the match yesterday, I still haven't gotten a chance to see the match, but I've seen a whole bunch of comments online and stuff like that. And one of the most important things, obviously, is and I will never let go of, like, this unforced error thing. And I feel like the percentage of unforced errors is really proof that you still are, your fitness is up to par, your skill in general when you're not making errors is very much so up to par on a professional level, and then as well as your numbers just being number 3 in the world. Like, those things speak to me. And the fact that most of the matches that you lose, your unforced errors, they're not even like forced errors. It would concern me if you were losing and you had like a really, really ridiculous ratio of forced errors. And I'm sure you have forced errors, obviously, but the unforced errors are so off kilter a lot of times. Like, that's something for you to really look at and say, listen, hey, you know what? That's something for you to make sure you're not allowing your mind to drift off into some sort of belief that, again, I feel like there's this cloud of confusion around, how well you can perform now against Djokovic. And then there was that actually was the same process with Rafa a few years ago. And now you're just sort of having that with Djokovic. But I just say to you, like, really hold strong, and now's the time to really draw on Djokovic and draw on Nadal for inspiration. Like, and I asked you this before, like, how does Rafa process his wins and his losses, and how has Djokovic been processing his wins and his losses? How did Djokovic process his loss last year, 2011, against you? Did he falter, or, did he come into this match, with his head kind of like, oh my gosh, Federer beat me last year? He had that in his mind, and he knows how good you are, and he knows that as I said in the video back in Rome, like, Djokovic knows, like, he absolutely cannot sleep at the wheel when he goes against you. Like, every single match that he has ever talked about going against you, he's talked about being 100% focused. So this is how he's been processing that loss against you. Like, the only way I'm going to be able to get anywhere near against Federer is to make sure that I'm on and focused 100% of the time, committing to every single point 100% of the time. So I'm just saying, when you have 46 unforced errors, and Djokovic has 17 unforced errors, that's like, really, is that saying, like, that's about 29 points you gave up? And I think, let me see, I think if I did this correctly, like, every set, because, I like to think that I'm really not much of the ridiculous tennis expert or anything like that, but every set is about, without having to get to, just like every set, just in general, without any back and forth. I'm at a loss for words right now, but I'm just going to go ahead and say every set seems to me to be about a total of 24 points, just if one person were playing the points pretty much with no errors, with no, no real back and forth and stuff like that. So I just kind of look at it like almost like you gave him 29 points, and if you were to just simply look at your unforced errors, and just make a goal of shaving down like 10, you know, because it's not like you're like a little kid, a little 13-year-old kid or whatever. So it's not like I'm gonna say, well, I've been saying like shave down 5, but you are a high level professional athlete who is high performance and who is going to go down in the record books as the greatest of all time, and they're going to put the word in arguably just so that they could put in the term greatest of all time. But you're going down as that no matter what happens. And you know what? Even if your records get surpassed, like nobody's talking about anybody else again, about nobody is holding and creating that type of definition, I guess you could say, that checks off greatest of all time in the minds of the people, like you have done that. So you're going to go down in the books like that, whether anybody else surpasses your Grand Slam records or whatever. Like you're always going to be there. But what I'm saying is you're a professional, and a high performance professional. So why wouldn't I say, like, what if you were to shave down on 10 unforced errors? Like, I mean, 24 points, just, I know that it takes probably, with the back and forth, more than 24 points, but I'm just leaving it like that because I'm not an expert and I don't want to, like, mess things up overly with my point. But 29 points, generally that's, like, in rough general estimate, that's, like, one whole set. So, what I really want to make this video is just clearing your mind through the confusion of thinking that Djokovic is this opponent that, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to raise my level up, like, and that's what it seems like when I read what you're saying. And I will say this, to be fair, I am not the one on the court, and I know that it's a lot of physical exertion. It's a lot of things going on. You know what I mean? Especially when you're performing on. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of mental focus. It's a lot of juggling things at once. So I want to let you know I honor and I recognize that struggle, and I give you such the highest kudos for what you are doing, because you are one of the top, you're in the top 3 performers in the world. Most people in life, and most of these people who are sitting here judging you, will never, ever sit in those shoes, will never know what it's like to perform at a high level, to define yourself at a global level, and separate yourself apart from the masses. Like, not many of us, are not ever going to know that. So I just want to say, like, I honor that, and I want you to honor that. You know what I'm saying? And, like, what are you doing today? Like, I'm wondering, I know you have your beautiful, beautiful family with you, but where are your thoughts going today? That's what I'm thinking. Like, where are your thoughts going today? And it's important to know to split your mind, sort through the noise of just thinking like, oh my gosh, this guy can beat me, I don't know if I ever could really beat this guy. Like, once you start really letting your mind go there, the mind is the most powerful thing, and I talked about this in a long time ago, in a video when I talked about, when I asked you, like, when I say Rafa Nadal, what do you think? Do and what's the first thought that comes to your mind? And the first thought that comes to a lot of people's mind, especially in clay season, is King of Clay. And if you're already having that King of Clay thing in your mind and carrying that into your matches, the mind's going to start performing like, you've made a choice. There's someone better than me. There's someone I can't beat. You've made that choice in your mind. That's a choice. And now the body is going to completely start supporting that reality in your mind. You know what I mean? Whereas, and I could go off into this whole, mental superhuman thing or whatever, but I probably would really bore you. I think we're all smart enough to just get the point. rather than just going in and being like, you know what, I'm going to do myself a favor. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to shave down my errors. I'm going to hear when the anxiety comes up in me, and I'm not going to operate off of anxiety and make errors. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily what you're doing, but I really have sort of a feeling that that's what happens. And I want to say it's also very natural, you know. And kudos to you, like, again, for performing in front of a high platform of people, because not many people could do that and keep their nerves. Not most of these people in this world, Roger, are not leaders. They are follow the herd. And I'm not trying to, you know what, I'm not even going to try to justify myself. They follow the herd. So you know what, you're out there, you're a leader, you're doing it, you're leading the masses, you're standing up, you're flying in front of people, you're falling in front of people, you're getting back up in front of people, and you know what, I honor you for that. I honor you for that, and that's why I root for you, and that's why I make these videos for you. But most of all, I think I've been honest enough in my videos for you to know that I would never sit here and lie about saying, like, I believe you can, with a plan, get yourself to number one. You know, I believe you can do it. It's gonna take work, you know, and the work is gonna really start with you coming back mentally, believing it, and then coming back with a plan. You're gonna have to study these guys the way they studied you. You're gonna have to take probably more losses, but you're gonna have to, you know, keep going up against them. And yes, you are 30, and yes, you know, everyone's trying to say that you're older or blah 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 blah. But you're defining something new, you know, just like that swimmer, I think it's Dara Torres, the swimmer who was 40 years old and won in the Olympics. Like, you're defining something new, you know, and we can't get your, you can't depend on people who are already like their quit ratio or their quittal percentage. You know, there doesn't take much for them to quit. It doesn't take much for them to doubt. You know, and that's why a lot of people are. And I'm not trying to talk down about anybody. Like, I'm, you know, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, it's really a sign. Like, there's a trend among the successful. There's a trend among people who perform at a high level. They work 10 times harder than the average person. They have 10 times more faith in themselves, you know. And you see it story after story, you know. And especially if you live in the United States. I don't really know about anybody else, but there's always these success stories, whether it's from a rapper to an athlete to a presidential candidate. Like, people, those people have they have a trend. No matter how the hell you're looking at them and judging them and thinking they're stupid or whatever, these people all have a trend. They work hard. They are unafraid to fail in front of people. And you know, there's a wonderful man named Tal Ben-Shahar who is a former Harvard professor, and he focuses on the psychology of happiness or something like that. And he talks about failure being a real necessity in life, and that failure is a thing that catapulted most people who have set themselves apart from the masses, you know. And you look at people like Steve Jobs, who put together Apple. Like, you look at those attitudes. You look at people like Mark Zuckerberg, who put together Facebook. You look at Bill Gates. You know, you look at people who haven't taken the conventional way. Like, most of these guys, Harvard educated, I just mentioned. I don't know about Steve Jobs, though. I can't remember where he went to school, but they dropped out of school. Like, that's not even the conventional way. And, you know, all I'm saying is that when you are taking advice from people who are reporters, and I'm not saying you're taking advice from people, I'm not saying all of that, but when you really start to take the opinions of people who are not even performing anywhere near as well in their own lives as you are, you know, that you know what, I'm not even saying, I'm saying something wrong here, because I feel like I'm giving you the sense that I'm saying that you're taking advice from people. But all I'm saying is that, you know, it's natural that most people, their ratio, their quit to journey on ratio is you know, lopsided. Like, it doesn't take much people to quit. It doesn't take much people for people to start doubting themselves and to decide, like, this isn't working for me. I can never, you know, people say they can't win at something. So I'm just saying, like, what are you doing for yourself today? You champion you. What are you doing? You know, to build yourself up to know that those 46 errors, you were your biggest opponent, not Djokovic. And a lot of people sat there and said Djokovic almost didn't have to do a darn thing to win the match. But I don't want to take anything away from Djokovic. I'm by saying this, I'm not taking anything away from his brilliance and beauty and how hard he's really believed in himself. You got to see like where Djokovic is getting himself by believing in himself at every point. And I talk about all of that in my video yesterday. So I'm just saying, like, this is the time, and I'm keeping it real with you, Roger. I was really thinking today, like, you know, this is the time, that day after, when the whole world is gone away and you're just in your bed and all you have is the voices in your head and just the ugly monsters or whatever, you know, telling you you can't do it, you can't, la 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 la. So, you know, reach out. I'm just saying, reach out for a support system. Pick up you know, a book that will keep your mind in a positive sense, you know. Power of Focus. You know, I don't exactly recommend this book because I haven't fully read it, but I actually happen to really like Jack Canfield a lot, and really like his book, The Success Principles, and you know, I have so many pages underlined in the success principles, but Jack Canfield may not be for you, you know what I mean? Like, you're not, you know, differs from person or whatever, but I'm just saying the power of focus, the power of, you know, just getting some support and sticking to your guns and saying, listen, I took 4 titles this year, so I don't give a damn, you know, sorry when people start checking out from sort of supporting you. And I'm not saying that with any disrespect, because it's easy to get discouraged, but I'm just saying, like, you're a champion, you've done superhuman things, you guys are all doing pretty much superhuman things, you know. And Djokovic and I made a comment on my other video, Djokovic and Nadal have wrestled through their demons. You don't think they had the same demons? You know, last year, when you knocked Djokovic out of Roland Garros, you don't think he went home with demons and you know, like, I don't know if I could ever get past Federer. I don't know if I could get into the finals. Like, can I even beat Nadal, really, when I get into the finals? He put his head down, and he kept working, kept working, kept working. And it doesn't matter. I think I went off point before. It doesn't matter if you are, you know, 30 years old. You're not hobbling around. You know, you're hanging with these guys. Yeah, you know, you have to deal with them having a lot of power and stuff like that. But you're smart. You can figure it out. You know, and there's an answer for everything, and there's a solution for everything. And that's what sets people in this world apart from the normal people who just give the freak up and follow the damn herd. You know, it's visionaries, like, and I'm just gonna go back to, I don't know why Steve Jobs is just coming in so strong for me, into my mind. Like, you know, with Apple, you know, they get problems, they get setbacks, they get failures, but they get up. That's the difference between them and everybody else, you know. And that's the difference. Like, I want to step in here to remind you, like, this crucial moment, you know, if you, maybe you're not even having a hard time, you know, maybe you're having a great time today, you know, but this is the calling for you, you know, Djokovic and Nadal, like, this is the calling for you to step up your own game for yourself, you know. And as long as, I'm just saying, as long as you step up and just tighten up your stuff, like less unforced errors, still, you know, really believing in yourself, believing you can win, you know, because you have in the past, you know, I've given all the reasons before, you know. Yeah, you know, I think I didn't even complete my thought earlier. I was just saying that, like, you know, that I've been really, like, truthful and honest in a lot of these videos, so I would never lie when I say, you know, I believe that you could still take a lot of wins. I believe with a plan, you can do it. You can move up in the rankings. You could take number 1. It'll cost a hell of a lot, but you could still do it. It's still doable for you, you know. And there are a lot of people right now who say, "What the freak is this girl talking about?" You know, and that's the difference between, like, just saying I can't do it and I can do it, and thinking of solutions and looking for answers, you know, because there's a solution and an answer to everything, you know. And there's a way to just work with your strengths. There's a way to work with your weaknesses and be hugely, highly, and ridiculously effective on the court and even pull out a win. And so this is it. I pulled this thing up. I'm sorry, it's like really kind of sloppy, but this is something that I've always kept up in my own room to remind me, like, to keep working every day. And I just figured I would just pass that along to you, because since I sit in a lot of these videos trying to give you advice, just kind of like, am I following my own advice I'm giving out? So I figured I would tell you, this is hanging up on my wall. It says, ask yourself today, what are you doing to actively improve your life? What are you actively doing to move your life in the direction that you want it to go? So what are you doing today to actively move your tennis life in the direction you want it to go? And just think about that. Like, reach out. Like, if you find your mind like really like, oh my gosh, I'm losing this and I'm losing that and la 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 la, and the whole hamster effect in your mind, and you feel like you change your mind, think of something positive, but 2 minutes later you find yourself back. You change your mind, think of something positive, 2 minutes later find yourself back. That's the good fight, That's the good fight. And usually there's a belief under that. Usually, you believe something, against yourself, and that's why the mind keeps coming back to that thing. That's what's been my personal discovery. When everything is the mind is like the hardest and holding on to like a negative thought. It's because somewhere inside, like, you're believing in something. So just to change your beliefs every day is like, just take power. Go on a negativity diet. Stay on your negativity diet with yourself. Like, if you have to put little reminders like this, or it doesn't even have to look like this, however you want it to look, whether you put it in your phone and it goes off at the top of the hour and the bottom of the hour, that works like hell too. Like, some phrase that inspires you, put it in your phone for your phone to go off, at the top of the hour, at the bottom of the hour, every single bit of the day, and just draw on Nadal and draw on Djokovic, and maybe because of the nature of the rivalry with you two, you'd be like, I don't want to do anything, like, I don't look to them, but it's not them, it's the system, and they are processing their losses very well, and they're calling you to become a new, just switch up your game, raise your game. But I see you doing fine against them. The numbers don't lie. Everyone's like, oh my God, Federer. But you have 46 errors. Shoot, I mean, if you had 0 errors and you lost that match, I'd be like, kind of worried. But you have 46 errors. You were your biggest opponent. And let me say it again. You were your biggest opponent with 46 unforced errors. Let me say it again. You were your biggest opponent with 46 unforced errors. Like, imagine how many points that would have gotten you if you even shaved off 10 of those errors. And if you were even, what would those points have helped? Maybe those points would have put you in a position where you felt you were in a place like, oh my gosh, I kind of got this. Let me just dig in some more. You know what I mean? So it's really important, like, this day off, to really support yourself, to really look at reality. It was 46 unforced errors. It wasn't like you were overwhelmed by Djokovic. Yes, I heard you try to serve into his body. Yes, I heard you try different serves and that he had a lot of answers. He has a lot of answers because he's been working hard, because he knows he has to be on for you. So what do you have to do to be on for him? Where do you have to be to start asking yourself questions on the court, like noticing where your mind's going, noticing when you're slipping off into not believing in yourself, And yeah, I mean, that's just basically it. So I would say to you today, do whatever's right for you if you need to rest or whatever, but I would reach out for personal support system, because the mind is so fragile right now. Get yourself in a positive book. You know what I mean? Get yourself into something fun. Watch some comedy or whatever. Turn off the media and tennis world, because I also feel like, and I'll probably make another video, but so much of the tennis world, I wonder how much of the tennis world makes up the definition of Roger Federer. Like, how much you might want to learn to separate that from the actual human being, individual Roger Federer, and the tennis the tennis world. And that's why I feel like a lot of times it's hard for you to be happy even when you're winning, because so much of of the definition of what you've done and of what Roger Federer should be in this whole massive tennis world is being defined differently. So anyway, I'll talk about that another time. But here we are, 24 minutes. Oh my God, jeez. So yeah. I would just say, like, do something to pump you up. Stay with your music. Stay with your iPod today. Like, it's really important. Like, if not anything else, just challenge yourself. Like, you know what? At the bottom of the half an hour, or whatever, at the top of the hour, I'm just going to play my iPod for 5 minutes. I'm going to listen to a song that makes me feel good. Like, just, even if you just do one thing, not to allow yourself go into this slump, because this is not going to help you, you know? And you know what? Even if you had zero unforced errors and Djokovic just completely annihilated, complete annihilation, let's just say that still wouldn't help for you to go home and be like, oh my God, I lost. Oh my God, I don't know if I could ever beat Djokovic. Like, is this helping? This is not helping. This is not serving you. So, I support you. And I have to tell you, so many people love you, Roger. So many fans love you. Like, so many fans feel for you. I've just seen Twitter, and Paul Anacone's on Twitter, and poor Paul, because he actually gets inundated with tweets, and everyone's like, work on Roger. Somebody's like, work on Roger with his first serve or whatever, blah blah blah, and like in a good way. And then someone was like, please, someone. Nick Anacone, I think is Paul Anacone's son, and someone had tweeted him and Paul Anacone together and said, please let Roger know that we love him so much, and we're rooting for him, and blah blah blah. So, I mean, you just have so many fans who love you, and I just want you to know, like, just know that you have such a high support system. There's so many people are rooting for you, and so many people believe in you. And I think more people are thinking to you, as they say in French, pense à toi, thinking to you today than probably even yesterday. Like, we want you to just stay in for the good fight. And as long as you're committing to yourself, like, I'm going to do my best and not have any unforced errors. I'm going to stay focused. I'm going to just even if you just corrected those things and just saw what happened, because when you're on, good things happen. Good things tend to happen. So just stay with that. Yeah, I'm gonna get going, but last assignment, homework assignment, please, would be to just sit down today and go, how can you really enjoy this process, actually? Djokovic put together a video, not a video, oh my God, I'm so so out to lunch right now, I'm sorry. Djokovic had in an article said that he was so happy, like, with you and Rafa, like the trio of you, and how you all have really just made each other better tennis players. Like, he was just really, really happy. He was like, I mean, I've been stretched. I've been made such a better tennis player by Federer, by Nadal, and it's just really beautiful. So I just want to say, too, like, how can you just really embrace this process, like, and enjoy even the process that Joker's going through? Like, he's only 25 years old, he's going through something probably, I'm assuming, like, for a 25-year-old, like, you're just coming into your own power, really. Even at 30 years old, you're just kind of coming into knowing who you are. Like, you're starting to get tired of people's crap, and you're starting to say, no, I'm not going to take this. At 30, 25, you're still taking crap, and you're still listening to your parents and whatever and blah, blah, blah. At 30, you're really you really kind of had your fill of everybody else, and you're really starting to come into your own. So jumping back to Djokovic at 25, I'm just saying, like, how great a time is this for him, kind of, where he's just stepping into his power and realizing his power. Like, remember the U.S. Open 2009, where he was, like, not 100% focused, and there was one point where he hit to you and you hit back to him. He got like scared and clowned around in a semifinal, like in a real official semifinal, and like turned his butt, you know, like turned his butt toward you, like bent over or whatever. And he went from that kind of Djokovic to the Djokovic of today. And like, how can you embrace like some of his process and how you struck and inspired Djokovic to like really work hard, you know? And how can you draw on that for yourself, Roger, you know, and know that like these guys are not making tennis boring. Like, they're not just somebody like in 2007, where I personally always think you were 2007 and into 2008, where it was my personal impression that you were getting a little bored with tennis, a little bit. But I could be wrong about that. I felt like you were getting just a little bit bored with just beating everybody all the time, you know. So, like, how great is the process that these guys have mixed it up? Like, look at how you sent them to their best spaces of their life. Look at how you sent these guys into their own personal fire to wrestle their own demons. Like, how can you make this process a little more enjoyable for yourself, you know? And just really embrace this whole process of how the three of you guys have really changed each other as human beings who are just constantly expanding each other, calling each other to expand into a better person, a different person. Like, how can you embrace that, Roger? You know, because even watching it from the three of you, I'm a Roger Federer fan, first and foremost, always. But I like Nadal, I like Djokovic, and I get very happy for their process too. But you know, it's kind of like that thing with the sneakers. You know, when it comes down to it, when they're in a match with you, it's always you first. But, you know, I'll wear the sneakers at any other time. You know what I'm talking about from my other video the other day. But I'm just saying, like, this is a time for you to really also enjoy this process and learn how to really, really experience a sense of life, a sense of growth, a sense of stimulation through all of this, too. So, you know, like, you know, I think for your fans too, like, we want you to just have fun and not always feel like this is such a serious thing, you know. And again, you know, I think the calling for you is to just do your best. What if you just detached a little bit from you know, the win, you know what I mean, and just focused on, okay, I'm in a process, you know, let me just, what I'm gonna do is focus on keeping my unforced errors percentage low, and I'm going to just believe at every single point. Like, what if you just went in with that goal instead of just like, oh, the whole winning and losing thing? Like, you know, what if you just did something little like that and stayed hyper focused on that? Because that's also like, a win is a byproduct of this. You know, the win is the byproduct of cutting down on the unforced errors. Like, if you focus on the unforced errors, the win will come naturally. You know what I mean? Like, if you focus on the unforced errors, if you focus on, you know, keeping your mind in a certain frame, your certain focus, if you focus on, you know, keeping your serve up and through the match and stuff like that, when it's going down, how are you going to be in relationship with yourself and bringing back up and stuff like that? If you focus on those things and focus on the things that, you know, the brain that's controlling all of this, you know, and the emotions and the brain, the relationship between the two is controlling all of this, then the win will come as a byproduct. You know, you already have the talent, you already have the skill, you have the fitness still, you know, you have the issues with dealing with just a one arm, one-handed backhand or whatever, and dealing with the power of the other guy. So there are little things that you will have to work out and stuff like that, but just keep fighting, you know what I mean, and just keep strategizing and create, and know that, you know, so many people expect 30 to be this old age and stuff like that, but that does not have to be your truth, Roger Federer. And maybe you're the one who's here to define to other people that, you know what, when you put your mind to something, age means nothing, you know? And you can't, these people who keep trying to force this whole age thing on you and stuff like that, like, they're the ones whose quit ratios are really high. You know, it doesn't take much for them to quit. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to people, but I'm just saying to people, like, notice where you start dropping out. Notice where you start quitting. Notice what it takes, or if it even takes much, for you to start quitting something in your own life, for you to start doubting yourself in your own life. Okay, so It's not a disrespectful thing. I think it's just conversation for us all to really just discover, like, how are we going to define our limits? You know, our own achievements. How are we going to define that? So, Roger, have a wonderful day. I'm going to really end this. And again, just please, do something like to just support yourself. Like, get yourself a really good book, a really good book, have fun with your family, have fun and howl, and at that ceremony, and stuff, and just, remember the 46 unforced errors. Like, that's what really lost a lot of the match. You know what I mean? That's, 17 unforced errors for Djokovic and 46 for you. That's what really did a lot of losing the match. So just keep up the good fight. I heard you're aggressive from the start. I love it. I love it. I embrace you, and it seemed like you had a really good attitude. I don't know if you were just like, kind of just saying whatever to stay positive, but I think you had a really good attitude. You said you felt good coming in. I love that. And just remember, though, at the end of the night, you can say what you need to say to the world, and that's all good, too. But at the end of the night, make sure you have everything in place, so when you're lying down and dealing with your own truth, you may not reveal your own full truth. I'm not saying you're lying to us or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, just have a real good support system, a strategic system in place so that you can deal with keeping yourself on a really high level, and use Nadal and use Djokovic, like, remember how they process their losses. Like, they lost to you for a very long time, before getting to a point where they can be a formidable opponent, and they're still beatable by you, and that's proof in Indian Wells. It's proof you took 4 titles this year, and those guys weren't, in a lot of them, because the finals were with different people, weren't even with Djokovic and Nadal for the most part. So for me, that says they exited out early. So just keep up the real perspective here. It's not a time for you to go into, oh, Djokovic. It's not. That is not going to help you. That is not going to help your legacy, Roger. And even if you have to coax yourself a little bit, sit down and watch some matches you won. Like, even if you just have to trick the mind a little bit, that's what's going to help you. You know what I mean? That's what's going to help you stay productive rather than going into this whole thing. So it's another 36-minute video, but I think there's some good information in here. And just know I support you. I'm sending you really good energy today and best wishes. And stay positive. And if you are already staying positive, kudos to you. And just get ready for the next tournament. After Hal and Wimbledon, rest and relax. Rest and relax your mind, but really just feed the mind positive stuff. Feed it positive stuff, and everything negative, like, push it out. And put the reminder on your phone, like, do a positive focus, like, every half an hour, like, where, the phone goes off and you're like, okay, where am I at mentally? All right, I spent 30 minutes thinking about, this thing about, can I win? Can I get into the semifinals? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know if those are things that are true, but when you start this descent, all those type of streams of thinking start. So just set your phone, like, use your phone as a support system. Use a good positive book as a support system. Get on like, put some notes up for yourself. Reach out to some friends who are really, really positive. And I will just keep making videos. And if you're watching these videos, keep watching these videos if they are really helping you. Even if they aren't really helping you, please watch them. No, I'm just kidding. Have a wonderful day. I can't seem to shut up, so I'm just really going to stop this. Have a good day. Take care. Good luck. And love to you, and love to Mirka. I hope she's doing really well. Because I know that, these tournaments are intense. So, you guys keep it the good fight. 46 unforced errors. You were your biggest opponent. You remember that, Roger Federer, and do yourself, what are 10 favors I can do for myself on the court? Like, sit down and write that today. And what are 10 favors I can do for myself when I'm off the court so that I stay positive? And what are 5 ways I can believe in myself more, And do that thing with your phone, please. Please, please. Take care.